Good news is I only needed 27.
Only 27 seconds were required.
Grab a couple diapers and wipes. Bag of wipes.
My dad always needs to be prepared. Well, when we last left off this week, where we pick up this week, you guys were in a tavern, finding some food and drink to restore your spirits. Let's consume some after having survived the death house. The bar implies that occupy the bar really are pretty tight-lipped for the most part. Quiet, dreary, get a couple suspicious looks. Your nods or hellos really aren't returned. Except by one person in the bar. Friendly-looking young man. Who, after a while of you guys sitting there drinking and eating, sends a round of drinks over. The young man sits in the corner, and upon his back is an ornate-looking sword. He has some kind of scale mail armor, and he looks more heavily armored than most of the townsfolk that you've seen in Barovia thus far, who all look to be more like commoners. This young man bears the mark of a soldier, or perhaps a trained warrior.
What is custom when stranger buy drink in this land?
I guess.
Literally, you drink it.
And you go thank the man and see if he wants. Sometimes it's just a matter of introduction.
Ragnar, come with. Must stop at bar first. Have something to say to bartender. Gets up and walks over to the bartender. Excuse me.
Hello there, big fella.
I once apologize for being a bit gruff earlier. Was tired and hungry. Did not mean to be nice.
Pay no mind, friend. The winds in these lands can have a strange effect on the personality.
Okay. Thank you for understanding. He just kind of nods his head and starts walking over to hopefully rendezvous with... Oh, there's Tarak. Okay, so we'll...
Tarak and was gonna walk over there with a friendly attitude and just go by next to that person over there and go, "Hail, friend! Thank you very much for the round. It is much appreciated to see a friendly approach in these lands. What is your name?"
I am Ismark, and you will find few friendly faces here, I'm afraid.
So we've noticed. My name is Tarak, and my friends over here have found ourselves in this strange land by some weird influences. Well, we do appreciate a drink. Allow me to feel a bit more like you might were trying to get our attention, and we gladly have ours. How may we help you?
You'll have to forgive my fellow townspeople. They are not always, how you say, hospitable. But I have need for friends at this time, so being friendly seems most fitting. I am looking for aid in taking my sister Irina to the town of Barovia. You seem a fitting bunch. Perhaps you'd be interested. I could pay you, of course.
Yes, I assume you're looking for armed friends, correct?
Yes, he smiles. And it's a handsome smile.
You speak of gold. Of trinkets. Sorry, I'll be really happy to help you with your sister. Tell us, why would you need to go to Barovia?
Oh, I apologize. I may have misspoken. We are traveling to the town of Voloki. We are trying to escape things that are here. My father has passed recently, and I fear that our time here is up. He says abruptly.
And I take it these things you are trying to escape are the things you need protection from.
Them and anything we may meet on the road, yes?
So what is it you're trying to escape?
I can't honestly tell you. I can tell you the tale of the past few days to help you understand better.
We would be happy to hear about this.
Smart takes a long chug from his drink and sets the mug down. You can hear from the sound of it that he emptied it. It was but a few days ago that my father stood still on his own 2 feet. It was but a few days ago that my sister, poor Irina, still had the light and beauty of innocence in her eye. One night, 3 days ago, I was sleeping in my bed. I heard the creaking of the floorboards. It's a big house. It's old. It shifts in the night. I thought nothing of it. But when I awoke the next morning, my sister Irina was pale and ill. She had small indents on her neck. Strangely, they healed quickly, however, the influenza that afflicted her remained. Her fever raged. She stayed sick for several days.
Fever? What kind
Can,
fever?
just can I roll something to figure out what could have been doing this to her sister?
I'm familiar with lycanthropy and other natural afflictions as well. Maybe nature. I want to use my nature skill, dang it.
And how would you like to use it?
Oh, like I just said. My
fi-
knowledge of natural afflictions and diseases and corruptions of nature. You know, nature's my thing.
Fair enough.
Should we both roll or just me?
2 people, I believe, were interested.
Yeah,
I thought I heard 2 voices.
yeah. There's Therak as well. He's going to use his history to figure out in the history of his training before he's heard about this.
Bookworm. We
No,
cannot. No.
We cannot.
History 17.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Heyo, I can hear you.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask spectral medicine.
Sound really quiet.
Yep,
There,
medicine check will work.
go
What?
ahead and bump you up to 150.
Nature check, a history check, and a medicine check.
He's like, what is going on here?
Can somebody make an Arcana check?
I mean, that could maybe apply too. Who knows?
Okay.
Just roll random checks until you guys get a good score, and I'll tell you some more
Yeah.
stuff. How about
It'll be
that?
fine.
Sounds like an idea.
Could have just continued
Okay, I'll
say
listening
that
to the
every
guy. He
time.
might have told you what afflicted him.
Do that.
That was Kragnar's move. He just said, what fever?
Yeah, I was just waiting for the to continue.
He makes a good point. We did roll before asking.
Yeah. Decided to roll.
Sorry,
Digital
somebody
dice.
started talking about rolling, and I was like, ooh, me.
You bunch of
I
damn
would say
goblins.
no. I would say
I'm over it now, I'm
what
good.
you said though after asking to roll the nature check makes complete sense. You know, you have a base knowledge about these things. Derek, you have a history of experience with some monsters like this, perhaps. Flynn, you know, you're using your medical knowledge to see what kind of affliction this might be, what kind of fever that might be, what kind of influenza she might have. But I would prefer that you guys would do those things instead of saying, "Can I make a history check?" Because you can, of course, and I'm probably not ever going to say no to those things. But it just makes more sense to say what your character's doing.
Makes sense.
After making you guys various checks, and Flynn, if you just want to shout out what you got on your medicine check, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, it was a 15.
Awesome. I'm going to give you guys each a piece of information. Corvus, from the sound of it, you are immediately thinking one of 2 things, basically. In your mind, this is either some sort of a werewolf, a creature of the night that would stalk its prey in such a way, or it could be something much more sinister, a vampire.
Undead. Always the undead.
Derek, from your history check, you think back into your experiences, and you remember hearing about such an affliction, plaguing a young woman after being bitten by a young vampire, all the same. She was sick for several days before succumbing to her own death. But it was a farce. For on her deathbed she awoke and took her husband's life by ripping out his jugular. A tale that's gruesome, however, one you're all too familiar with.
Right?
In Pandora, from your medicine check, you would understand that bite marks of, these various different animals would have different spacings. The indentures would be at, different widths. So an easy way to kind of determine between the two would be, to measure the distance between the bites. Now, this mark, if you guys picked up on it, did say that the mark faded and healed quickly, and even though her flu didn't go away and whatever sickness was ailing her seemed to prevail. But he may know the information.
All right. Please, friend, please continue your tale.
Just last night, I awoke to hear what I found was my father screaming at the top of his lungs. When I went to his bed, he was pale white and cold already. Unlike Irina, he had no marks on him. I am sure that he did not pass in a natural way. Something took my father, and something wants to take my sister. I must do what I can to protect them, and I ask you for your aid in this. Help us to Voloki, and I will give you all that it is I own.
Ragnar will help, but have question first. Did father have red spots or sores on skin?
No, he did not have any markings on him. His lips had turned blue. How had he passed in such a way so quickly? I had just heard his screams.
Ragnar not know much about medicine. Sorry.
If I may, my apologies. There's no good way for me to ask this. I will happily help you and your sister, or at least I will. But, would it be okay if, again, there's no good way to ask this. We might be able to see the body and maybe find out what is happening?
You wish to see my father?
Yes.
He says this in a way that it's tough to get a read whether he's offended or enthused that someone is willing to, or interested even, in what's going on with his plight.
Alright, we're gonna hope it's the second one.
If you would be so kind as to come and see him, I would certainly give you a place to stay for the night. I overheard you trying to get a room here. They are not as welcoming to outsiders as some.
So we've seen your offer is very appreciated. Some of us need some rest after a rough night. I do have one last question for you, and Terra goes into a softer voice, lower, and gets real close to Bismarck. Have you ever heard of the name of Count Strahd? He seems to have taken... We've received a message from him, and we don't know anything about the man.
He cuts you off in the middle of that statement. Although of course I want to let you finish it. He does not. He slices through that with a do not speak his name out loud. He has power. You use his name. This, I fear, may be what lurks after my sister. But I fear it so much that I wish not to speak it into reality. He says this, a harsh whisper. You can barely hear him. The biting on her neck. I fear it may be from a vampire.
Kira gives a heavy look to everybody else. I understand why you would not want to speak loudly of this. And that is effectively a terrifying idea. But of course, we will still take, I think, the group will still take the warm place to and safe place to rest for the night at least.
What does Vampire Kragnar not know?
We'll talk later about this, not in front of everybody.
Okay. Lead on, sir.
I can see you are all tired. I will take you to my home. Come. And he nods to the bartender, leaving a few gold coins on the table. You're surprised to see this. And then he walks out.
I don't know.
So, no doctors in this town?
Not that we've met yet. I understand, Kragnar. You're very interested in meeting them. As soon as we do, I swear you're gonna have your chance.
The last doctor that lives in this town and met what we believe to be a terrible fate inside that house over there. He points to the death house, fully erected. The best word I could use there, I apologize.
It's a medical term. It's fine.
Yep. It's also a construction term. It is up. It is built.
It's a construction term.
It is no longer destroyed and crumbled to the ground. I'll be more specific.
That's a squawk of surprise. That's a surprising sight. We've just been into that house, and it was not in that state when we left it.
What do you mean?
Well, I think we were attracted into the house by two children, and we found some terrible things happen in that house. Managed to stop a few of those, and then had to run out as the thing crumbled on us.
House fall down. Now house back up.
Quite a tragedy that happened in that house, truly. And Tara kind of spits this side, and some children being left to die like this. Terrible.
I'm not sure I understand your meaning that the house has been abandoned for quite some time. The doctor was in this town before I was even born, when my father was still a small boy.
Well, let's see. It seems that even after it was abandoned, things were left behind. And some dark things happened in that basement.
Yes,
We had
heard the stories of the basement. Best to
Yes,
stay
we've-
away from this house, I think.
Oh, that we agree.
Yes.
You're searching for a doctor. Have you been wounded? He says to the half-orc.
No, not Kragnar. Kragnar village suffering from sickness.
Well,
Kragnar left to find a cure.
my sister,
Mist come.
well, she is no
Take Rag-
doctor.
sorry.
She has healing powers. She may be able to help you in some way.
Approving snort.
Hey, Aaron, my friend, how are you feeling? You were not doing well earlier.
I kind of wave the question off. As you can see, the blood is already drying. It doesn't seem to be bothering me. I'm fine.
mortuary. All right. Unless anybody else has something else they want to check on, I guess we can move on.
Yeah, Ismark begins leading you straight down the narrow pathway towards his home. See, he begins heading in this direction. Yes, Kragnar on the way. Again, since they're out of the bar now. You have no familiarity with vampires. In Barovia, this is something that you should make yourself very aware of, I think. He begins to tell you a little bit about vampires and what they are as creatures, as well as the various ways to defend yourself against one. He gives you some basic movie-style advice. Garlic, stakes to
Okay,
the
cool.
heart, religious items, sunlight, all of the above. And you get an understanding of what a vampire is as a creature, as well as some of its vulnerabilities. Also some of its strengths. But as you make it to the gigantic mansion that looks like probably maybe the closest building to the Death House, or in size to the Death House, I'll say. Ismark turns to you and says, "Well, this is my humble abode." With sort of a cheeky grin on his face. And he gestures his hand to all of you, asking each of you to pass into his home. Well, if you have had your fill for the evening, straight to bed or perhaps a nightcap?
Derek is going to go for the nightcap. Also, he's going to try to figure out if he was telling the truth, like talking to him, like if he's really scared and wants to leave, or is just something else.
You see a meager-looking woman standing at the end of the hallway, almost hiding behind one of the small statues that stands there. Ismark calls down the hallway. "Sylviana, drinks, please, if you will." That is Sylviana. She has been with our family for a long time. He says nothing more of this as he looks on awkwardly at all of you.
Kragnar, take drink. Question, is sister here?
Irina? Yes. She is resting in her room at the moment. She will be down shortly, I believe. She does enjoy guests. He takes you down the hallway and into a room that has 8 chairs around the table. It looks like a dining room of some sort.
Derek takes seat.
Oh, sorry, did not see you. Nope. Nope. Not polite, stand on chair. Or table.
Stand on chair. Oh, no, not the table.
Oh.
We'll just call it Barovian custom. You hop up on the table, hop down real quick.
And
Rich
the round
too.
table. And so never able.
Play a little musical chairs.
My goodness, it was hard to find my mini in Death House.
All right. So,
please make yourselves at home. I'll be back in just a moment. Ismark promptly walks to the end of the room, closes the door behind him, leaving you all looking at each other. You hear his
Right.
footsteps walk down the hallway. There is silence in the room, of course.
What a long time.
So
They talk about this Strahd creature. It sounds like he's conquered this entire plane. I hope this isn't true.
No.
I
I
would-
think he controls everything at this point.
normally I would say that we should avoid dealing with such a terrifying, strong creature as a vampire, but it seems we've already attracted his attention. These young people might have some answers for us, but we must stay on our guard. These are not things to be trifled with. Apparently,
Did he say that silver?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, did he say that silvered weapons work against vampires?
Indeed, it does. And we do have a few arrows, I believe.
I don't know if that was.
Corvus, you still have the arrows?
Yes, I do. 13 of them. Tell you
Good.
what, though, get your hands on a few silver pieces and we can easily have as many made as we want. Well, a few hundred silver pieces anyway.
Yeah, I get the feeling silver might not be the easiest thing to come around in these parts. Seeing as the Lord of the Land seems to be weak to them, I'd be surprised.
If I was a vampire that ruled this place, I would outlaw silver currency. But you know what? I'm going to hope we can find some.
Keep our eyes out.
Here's to hoping.
Pandora,
Yes?
you are a healer? Has Pandora ever heard of disease called blood rot?
Have I?
It hurts babies and children first, but deadly to most. Small red spots turn into sores, coughing, fever, then they die.
Well, I certainly hope this disease isn't rapidly lethal. I have a feeling you'll be trapped here a while.
This what scares Kragnar most. That he will fail his people trapped here.
Yes,
And
it
do I
is a
need to-
scary thought, and nothing will be left for us but to take revenge or whatever, what have you. Something tells me this is the state this Strahd creature wants us in.
Kragnar does not succeed, he will be failure to tribe. Outcast. Nothing. Might as well stay
if he's as
here and
magically
die.
inclined as the people seem to imply he is, I would take the rumor about speaking his name seriously.
Yes, as our friend Ismark said, and he uses Ismark's voice, we do not talk about him in the land.
I think
So
it's
has
one of those
Pandora
things-
heard?
Hmm?
Has Pandora heard of the blood rot?
DM, do I need to roll for that?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a medicine check.
Okay.
Let's give Kragnar some resources, eh?
Swear to God, if I roll badly, I'm actually gonna
Roll
lose my shit.
good, roll good, roll
I
good.
would like to give you my guidance. Oh,
That's a 10. Then
It's okay, if not, no.
Blood rot is something that you've heard of, but only vaguely, distantly. Not something you're truly familiar with.
Yeah, I'll lay that. I've heard of it. I've heard of it happening. However, I mostly, frankly, pre all of this, worked with people, and blood rot really isn't a common thing here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Answer the question about silvered weapons that came up. Vampires are not among the list of creatures that are affected by silvered weapons. Really, how silver weapons work in 5e is there's a list of creatures that are resistant to attacks from non-silvered weapons, immune to attacks from non-silvered weapons, but vampires are in neither of those lists.
Yeah, I think what it is you need a silvered weapon or a magical weapon to hurt them at all.
Right, no. That is the case with creatures that are affected by silvered weapons. But
right.
Might be werewolves. Might be werewolves.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Maybe.
lycanthropy is among the list of affected creatures. Those suffer from lycanthropy. Werewolves wear everything really, but not vampires.
Narlax not be very helpful here, then, against vampire.
It'll relieve you to know that the silvered weapons are still as valuable, and they still have as much utilitarian value as well in Barovia.
I had to go look up vampire just to check. And yeah, it looks like they removed the vulnerability. Yep.
Dan didn't trust you.
I fully expect this behavior from Dan. And it is welcomed and accepted from everybody as well.
If it makes you feel any better, I trusted every word you said and had no need, or felt no need to look it up.
I just couldn't believe they changed something like that.
Unless it's something that is world breaking or game breaking for me, I'm probably just gonna go with whatever the rule book says.
Of course, yeah. That's why I had to look, not because I didn't believe you.
I know you believe me, but I have blue eyes, so you shouldn't.
I'll keep that in mind then.
I heard something about never trust a blue-eyed man.
Well, shit, that probably applies to me too.
Well, Strahd has red eyes, so you can trust him.
Oh God. It goes double for red eyes. Come on now. Let's be reasonable.
Red eyes sound perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, no, nothing unreasonable
Yeah, they're all
about that.
red and dried out and crusty, and really need some eye drops. I'm sure.
Since everybody's here now, and we have some downtime, do you guys want to talk a bit more about who each of us are, or do you want to keep going as we are? Discover over time.
We probably should, considering it sounds like we're going to be stuck with each other for a while, so...
Getting to know each other wouldn't be the worst thing either.
Right. What the
hell, why not?
What is jovial tone? Terra goes, let me start then. Like as you told you guys before, I'm Terrak. Normally I'm not supposed to reveal this, but I am part of an organization that deals with these kind of problems, the creatures of the dark. We tend to work in the background, and then we just hunt things down. And I was an apprentice, and I'm looking right now for my mentor, who seems to have disappeared strangely around Barovia. So I'm starting to think I'm not here by accident. But yes, I tend to fight with my trusty rapier, and I'd like to go hide to do my strikes. How about you guys?
Ragnar from Faerun, High Forest, Thunderhoof clan. And he pounds his chest when he says that. I think know most of Kragnar's story. But there is more. Kragnar's father, Braknar, is clan chief. Him not liked by clan. He strong. He magnetic, but he mean and cruel. Ragnar supposed to be chief one day, but no one trusts Ragnar because of father. Then clan start to get sick. Ragnar go search for cure, hope that make clan like him. Then Mist brought Ragnar here. I have family and clan, friends, enemies. We hunt. We celebrate. We pass on. We give things through the years. All that at risk of loss because of the blood rot. But Ragnar strong, Ragnar fight good. Ragnar have good heart. Hope that makes some difference here and helps me find cure here, there. Ragnar will go anywhere. But right now, Mist's brought him here. She kind of looks down.
Eric pats his shoulder. You're a good person.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Suppose I will. I'm missing large portions of my memory. I remember I had a wife and a child. I remember my wife died in childbirth. Just me and my daughter for a long time. Then gaps. I can't remember what seems to be the last few years. I woke up in my home, empty, with a dagger in my chest and bloodstains on the floor. I wandered out into the mists for what seemed like days, and I came upon you all. I don't know why I'm here, or why I came upon you, but I do intend to find out.
All right, nobody else wants to go next. Very mysterious origin, indeed.
Well, I suppose I can go. I don't think I've ever actually introduced myself to you all. My name is Meryl. Not really from these dreary parts. was born in a fishing village back in Faerun, but recently, for unrelated reasons, I've been traveling, hunting something down, and I ended up here in Barovia. And eventually met up with all of you in that god-awful house. And that leads us to now.
Hopefully you find your quarry. Anybody else wants to go?
I can. My name is Pandora. Before this, I was working in that small church up the hill. Mostly working on post-mortem things, but in comparison, I don't have a story, I guess. Just always grew up in the church. That was what I knew. Don't know how any of this happened, and Pandora gestures to herself and her heavily scarred face and body and her missing eye. I don't know where this came from, but
Don't you know
and
how?
I think everything happens for a reason. And we're just gonna figure out what that reason is.
Not know how that happened? Strange.
Yes, unfortunately, the reason things happen is a little more personal to me. And Corvus starts talking about, he says, I'm a high elf of the Feywild, and I grew up with my tribe, and we lived in harmony and happiness with nature. However, we didn't worship any of the traditional gods, because there was one Fey Lord, which ruled over the area in which my tribe lived. And the only thing which the Fey Lord demanded in return for my people's prosperity was that once every generation they would hand over a single child to the care of the Fey Lord and his inner sanctum. None of my people were ever allowed in, and only the ones selected, like myself, were. We were selected to become a member of a grove of druids that reported directly to this Fey Lord, whose main purpose in all of existence, and it doesn't just pertain to the Feywild, but it's worries about nature and how in other worlds it can be, specifically ones like this, and emotions around to the darkness, how it can become corrupted and spread to other forms of nature, and it creates a runaway effect where life becomes corrupted without any impetus. So my grove was created to fight against sources of evil against nature. Yeah, for the most part. And to be honest, I'm being a little vague about this because it was vague to us about. I can't even tell you the name of the creature I worship, but I've been led to believe it's an aspect of the elven gods. So, sorry about that rant. Go on.
Kragnar looks totally confused by everything you said. You use
Let's just
big
say
words.
I'm especially offended to see this place the way it is. I was
It's
taught
not
to
very
fight against the
natural.
corruption of nature, but I don't even know where to start here. This place seems far gone to me.
Yes. Agree with Corvus.
The darkness goes deep in these lands. That is for sure.
I assumed I had landed in the Shadowfell the first time I came here. And if you don't know where that is, good.
Dreadful place.
Now, Mr. Quackle, my feathery friend, do you want to present yourself a bit more in details?
I guess I could. So, I'm Eric Quackle, but you can call me Mr. Quackle. I've been a fisherman most of my life, about 5 years now. You see, on one little fishing journey, I landed down in a village, met this Eric Hawker lady. Chloe is so good I had to promise to marry her. I went home, quit my job, broke into a barn, fell asleep in a big pile of hay on my travels, and let me tell you, woke up here. I need to get out of here, man. I need to find my little Eric Hawker girl.
Corvus kind of muffles his smirk in his palm.
Good lady, hard to find. Hope you find her, Mr.
Thank you.
Quackle.
The story of love, one as old as time.
Love?
Or whatever it is you've got.
Yeah.
Gotta go to make some ducklings when you get home. Because that's where.
Yes.
Will all of your male children also be named Mr. Quackle?
Absolutely.
I'm
Eric
fine.
Quackle Jr., Eric Quackle Jr., Jr., Eric Quackle Jr., Jr., Jr.
I freaking knew it.
Yeah, at least they don't have numbers. We'll take that.
Oh, that's better.
You might have to.
What happens in the rows of I forgot the name. Sorry, my English is failing me right now. Anywho, by the way, if you guys haven't looked at guns, little summary of our things, that's freaking hilarious, especially Corvus.
Feel free to add to that, guys. I was just typing as fast as I can. A couple of you, I was typing while you were talking, and I missed some of what you said, so I apologize. I do know your backstories, though, very well. Those of you that have shared them with me, at least.
He doesn't know our backstories.
I've also been furiously scribbling down over here, so yeah, I also have
Very helpful.
I figured I had someone that had my back over there.
All right, everyone. Seems we now know each other a bit more. Seems our fate is to keep working together, and I'm actually very happy to have to be grouped up with you guys. We might not know each other, but it seems at least we seem to be working out together. And for one, will be really happy to have you guys back. Terok seems to be someone who really wants to be part of the group and really wants to gather everybody around. He's somebody who wants to be part of it. Not necessarily the leader, but he likes to. He doesn't want to be alone. That's very obvious.
Aw.
Ragnar will help keep Terok and the rest of the group safe. Ragnar good with axe and spear.
Corvus just sighs and puts his head in his hand and says, I'm starting to think they sent me here on purpose.
What? Not like Ragnar? Being good with axe and spear?
I meant that semi-sarcastically. No, I could
That
easily
one-
have been brought here the same way. Stating that
Once again, Corvus's comment goes right over Ragnar's head. He does not know semi-sarcastic. Huh?
He made a joke, my friend.
Oh.
Well, you hang out with us long enough, you will learn sarcasm.
Yes. Yes. How long drinks take be made? Is man lost in huge house castle?
The doors sweep open behind you, and in walks a beautiful-looking red-headed woman. Well, hello, visitors. So nice to have guests. We have not filled this table in some time. It brings great warmth to my heart to see it so. Looks at all of you smiling, and she's full plate mail armor, carrying, yep, a longsword as well.
Ragnar will stand.
Turak will-
Greetings, warrior maiden.
She
Turak
bows
stands
to-
up really quick. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
She just bows to all of you.
Turak stands
Officer
up.
is a seat.
Turak stands up quickly and like moves his feathers around, kind of like trying to look nicer with his bird face. I was like, nobody told us that we had such a fair maiden in this house.
Oh dear lord.
Turns out this woman's like 70 years old.
So you were the one who's purportedly been bitten by... And Corvus stops himself as he begins saying the name.
Ismark comes to the door, kind of looks at all of you like he missed something, then looks at Irina and says, Irina, you should not be out of bed. And in full plate mail armor, he says, rolling his eyes, can I get you to eat some soup or something at least? He looks at her. Ismark, you worry too much. I am feeling much better, and we have work of our own to do. I would not travel to the church not fully armed, and I see you yourself are fully armed. Why do you pester me? My sister, I merely seek to protect you. You are all I have left in this world. You see tears well in Ismark's eyes. She touches Ismark on the shoulder and looks at all of you, sort of to silence him for a moment. You'll have to forgive my brother. We recently lost my father. And times have been trying. We have been trying to find the means to bury him, but burials are difficult in Barovia as of late.
Burials
Irina-
because... Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Burials you mean that burials are difficult to do, or burials are difficult because stuff stay in the ground?
A good question. But your answer is both.
I thought so. Please carry on.
Burials in Barovia are not common to take place in the darkness, but we have not seen light in this area for some time. Certainly not at night. And the priest is not in a, condition to perform burial rites at the moment.
Looks across the table at Ismark and flatly states, I wouldn't recommend burying anybody on the dirt of this plain anywhere. But that's just me.
Ismark looks over at you, kind of regarding this comment with some agreement and respect as he nods and says, certainly not after dark. But as my sister said, light has not touched these lands for many years. Something about the dark causes the dead to do strange things when consecrated ground is broken in Barovia.
Yeah, we haven't been here for years, so we wouldn't know that day essentially never comes.
Now, while there's not a lot of sanctity in being buried, in the dirt randomly somewhere, but in Barovia, being buried in hallowed ground is, well, it comes with its own set of risks, we'll say. All this said in a cool Russian accent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if I were forced to live on this dismal plane and I were the one making the rules, I would say everybody gets a cremation. But I'm guessing there's a reason Mr. doesn't do that.
Ismark looks at Irina. This is not bad idea. Irina, absolutely not. It is against our religious beliefs, you see. We do not burn our dead.
That's quite inconvenient.
She grimaces a smile at you. I expect not a different response.
Well, I must say, if your goal was to not have your dead friends and family rise up as a dark army under the command of a vampire, I would recommend burning, yeah. Cremation. Please tell me, has this occurrence that I just mentioned happened before in this place's previous history?
Irina and Ismark give each other a knowing look, but you don't get a response from that. Irina simply continues by saying, terrible things can happen in this land. You are not mistaken. However, I would not deny my father his burial rights for these reasons. Nor would I deny a child into this world to protect it from its horrors. She shoots Ismark another knowing look.
What? Sorry, I missed it. You mean what did she say on the last part?
She said she would not deny a child into this world, even given the horrors it may face after being born.
Irina, are you have somebody? Are you pregnant?
She shoots you a sharp look, and you get no response either.
Okay. Derek just shrugs his shoulders, not sure what to do next.
That is one of those situations. Never ask a woman if she's pregnant. Always let her tell you. It's just my advice.
He's young.
Given her look too, just because you asked, and because you probably can't obviously physically see this, given her look, she doesn't appear to be pregnant, but she's wearing plate mail armor. So if she was showing even a little bit, she could probably hide it pretty easily. The look she shoots you is not one that's definitive either. It's just one of offense, I would say. As this question is mildly forward.
Just like, shut the fuck up, you idiot.
Maybe not that harsh. More like, how dare you?
Like, terribly sorry, Rabbit, no offense.
I'm a lady.
All the single ladies.
The land may be foul and corrupted, but the nobility still has an attitude.
Are we right now the night, evening, day? What's the time right now?
It's always night. Weren't you listening?
Well, it sort of always is night. I mean, from a time perspective, though, I would want to say, yeah, it's close. It's close to sleeping time, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in the afternoon.
Good.
Or evening.
Miss Irina, My name is Ragnar. Brother, tell me, you are a healer of sorts.
I am a practiced potion maker, yes. Is there something that ails you, my large friend? She says
Hey,
as
there's a
she
skill that-
places a delicate hand on top of yours.
Hey, there's
No.
a skill that seems more useful to us than carpentry.
Oh, Turok feels a twinge of jealousy going like, I wish I could too, get a hand.
Ragnar's home tribe afflicted with thing called blood rot. And he describes it for was looking for cure when mists brought me here. Hoping they did for a reason, and that I am not hopelessly lost.
Blood rot is a terrible affliction. There is no simple potion that will fix such, I am afraid of. Not at least that I know of. But there is someone who may have the answers that you seek. Voloki is host to a large amount of merchants. Perhaps someone there may be able to point us in the right direction. As my brother told you, we plan to travel there after we bury my father.
Yes, that's very good news. Thank you.
Ismark interrupts her a little bit at this. Irina, we must leave as soon as possible. Ismark says to Irina, and Ismark kind of looks at her with a grave, fearful look. Irina just responds, I will not leave my home until father is buried.
Ragnar awkwardly says, "Oh, go ahead, Pandora."
I might be able to help with that. I'm not sure how, but
Yes, we might be able to help, assuming you have a plan.
Ragnar have shovel.
I'm working on a plan.
The big guy's got a shovel.
I mean, that is what the plan, it seems like, should be, but we know it's going to be more complicated than that. For reasons I've already gone over.
Yeah.
While Irina's been talking to you all, I want to say to you that she's just been kind of casually circling the room. And at the moment, I believe she made it over to where Ragnar was standing. As she does this, she observes each of you.
Do we notice her doing this, or?
Yeah, I mean, she's doing it right in front of you guys. This is, I would say, just this her general physical body language as she walks around the room. You could definitely tell that she's kind of like surveying each of you. Kind of looking you up and down, seeing what your strong suits might be, so to speak. At least that's the general consensus you get.
Meryl's gonna look at her and ask, do you have any questions for us? You seem, awfully nervous.
Many questions that come to my mind when gazing upon each of you, as a matter of fact. But if I have my way, we will have plenty of time together. Smiles at you. You have a curious look about you. I have never seen someone of your like before. She says this with a warm smile, not to hurt your feelings.
No problem. My father was a CL. I get that all the time.
Father was a seal?
Yep. Sea elf. Not a seal.
A sea elf, okay.
I also heard seal and was very confused.
Oh my god, yes, this was gonna be
See,
Switch
we
up
have the true
Meryl's
king of
lineage
sarcasm here.
quite a bit with
Father.
a simple
That-
mishearing.
Was a hamster, and your mother smelt the elderberry.
I'm holding that one in my
There was
back pocket.
that confusion.
I was just gonna say inspiration. Yeah, his father was a sea elf.
Sea elf.
Yep. A
Is that
sea
the final
elf.
answer?
Ah, that's funny.
That
I heard
is
seal.
the final answer.
I have never
Okay.
met a sea elf in my life before. I must say, I find sea elves to be rather beautiful. She says, in a rather provocative tone.
Whoa.
That was gonna look a little uncomfortable. Thanks.
You have suddenly a different idea of why she may have been eyeing you up and down so much.
Corvus pipes up and says, I've never met a sea elf either, interestingly enough, though I've heard the only place I've even meet them is on Evermeet.
Oh, thank God, somebody else. Yes. My father liked to travel more than most of his kind.
Dara goes, I'm interesting as well. Looking a little bit too desperate there.
Yeah, Kragnar says, Kragnar kind of mumbles, Kragnar is too. He kind of walks over to sit by Tara.
Of course, you are a big guy.
There he is.
So, did you, to carry on this conversation, did you want to deal with your father tonight, or should we rest the night and then deal with the rest before we leave?
We are certainly not going into the church tonight, says Ismark. We will, in the very least, wait until the morning hours. No? Ismark says to Irina, looking for some sort of approval. Quickly get the impression that the dynamic that these two share is one of older sister and younger brother. That comment makes no sense, I'm sorry.
Trying to figure it out, it's fine.
Basically, older sibling status is kicking in. You can see Irina is sort of the one who gives the approval. Ismark is the one seeking it. That makes sense. Although
No, it makes
I am a
sense.
younger brother and I seek no approval from my older sister.
I'm the oldest, and the youngest do not care about my opinions.
No, she would tell you different. I'm just kidding.
All right, very well. Unless we have more to discuss tonight, I suggest we go.
Yes, all of you, I'm sure, could use rest. And there is room enough for all of you, though our accommodations may be a bit tight.
You should be able to make it.
She tells you that there's a guest bedroom down the hallway that each of you could stay in for the night. And that there should be enough beds to accommodate all of you. I put them there.
Yeah, you can see them pop right there.
You can see them popping right
It's a
into
magical house. It's like the
Oh,
room.
I see it.
We are known for our shifting and reappearing furniture in Barovia.
It's like the house of requirement, the room of requirement in Harry Potter.
The magical place indeed.
Need more beds. More beds.
Thank you. Oops, sorry. Thank you. Kragnar, rest now.
Thank you all for your hospitality. And they'll follow Krakenar.
Oh, nice to meet all of you.
It was very nice to meet you, Ismark, and the Lady Arena, which I hope I haven't offended by my comments earlier.
Irina reaches a hand out to you as you go to leave the room. Nice to meet you as well.
Erog does a very elegant bow. His beak almost touching the ground, says, "The pleasure is all mine, my lady."
You get the sense that her offense was momentary, if any.
I would look forward to travel with you tomorrow and get to know you a bit more. And he does a wink to the lady and a wink to the brother, just to try to not get killed by the brother.
Ismark just nods at you respectfully.
All right. And then he just goes because he's freaking tired after killing a shambling mound. Rattleberry, as it called it earlier. And he's
Just
got
catch both of their eyes with mine and nod as I walk out.
Gregnar knockdown status on the bed. I love it. So you guys make it to your rooms. You find the accommodations rather comfortable. There's a few storage crates in the room to put clothing into, and you find that some of them have rather colonial-looking bedside clothing. Given the smell of mothballs, I would assume 90% of you, if not 100% of you, opt out.
that would be good. That would be something good to assume. Yes.
Corvus does not sleep, so he settles for reverie by the fire.
The elves. So Jara goes with Ismark's voice. "I wish you all a good night." And then he goes with Irina's voice. "And it's very sweet dreams." I will take full advantage of that mimicry.
And I was just gonna stare at him for a minute and just shrug and go to sleep. Okay.
I mean, it's so shockingly accurate, you think they're in the room, for each of you that hear this as well.
Yeah, too tired for this.
Say for any of you paying attention, you see a look of what seems to be realization come across Aaron's face. And he reaches into his handy haversack. First it stuffs up to his wrist, and then his elbow, and then his shoulder, and he pulls out an old dusty book with a cracked black leather spine, or cover, and opens it and begins to read it.
There's the spellcaster. That was meta comment. Derek's just gonna go to sleep with that one.
Pandora's gonna go to sleep, and you kind of hear a comment of, "Damn, they're trying way too hard," and that's coming from the gay person in the group. But I'm just gonna go to bed.
Oh, just from hearing that, Tarak is just gonna go, "You need some more, Pandora?" With his voice.
Meryl's gonna hear this and like, you landed on real thick, pal.
I assume then the party takes their long rest for the night, and Corvus enjoys the reverie of the fire. I love it. Ismark may pop in and, just wish you a good night before he heads upstairs to his own room. But the rest of you, like I said, take your long rest for the night and awake in the morning to the smell of breakfast. And it is a rather alluring smell after the, we'll say less than home-style meal you may have had at the tavern. It may have been your first meal in quite some time for some of you.
Ragnar's up. He's going for breakfast. Most deaf.
You see a delicious spread in front of you.
But everyone types up. Oh, sorry.
You okay?
Oh shit. Okay, there we go. Oh shit, I'm on the tip.
Yeah, the duck got excited by seeing bread.
At Barovia
Dude.
Customs, man. You gotta hop up there, hop back down.
Oh wait,
Up on the table, do your breakfast dance, and get off the table.
do a little dance.
That's right. That's right. Well, you see a delicious spread of food in front of you, and each of you sit down to a plate that's already laid out for you. But it is empty, bidding you to grab whatever you'd like. Is Ismark. Irina simply sits and eats in silence. It appears that her and Ismark may have had another one of their small debates. She looks to be in less high spirits than when you saw her last night.
Well, this is probably the last time we won't be forced to eat rations or good berries for the next while, so we'd better eat up.
What good berry?
Oh, you'll get to know them very well, my friend.
Obnoxious. Bland.
Gotta
You
keep-
will learn to like their
Creation.
flavor because they are good.
Okay.
It's in the name. Ismark, Irina, I trust you've had a good sleep, and I'm willing to thank you so much for this for the night. It felt comfortable and safe.
Yes, hopefully I'm looking less impregnated this morning, she smiles at you.
If a bird could blush,
Jeez.
go around, he would be deep beet red.
Epic.
She just cheekily smiles at you and says, There, Terok. I like to play hard when I play. She smiles and winks.
I was just gonna look up and look around at the table. No, nobody else heard that. No. Okay. Go back to eating.
You are a warrior? Sword and shield?
Of course. Every person in Barovia should be trained to fight. And our father thought it important for us to learn from a young age.
Now that we've
Ragnar learned to but use axe. He grins proudly, talking about his axe.
now that we had a good night's rest and we're about to embark on a journey, do you have any further information you could tell us about the lord of these lands that he shall not be named? Could be useful.
I guess that's his new moniker.
They say he lives in a castle, high in the mountains of Ravenloft. They say that he controls many who live in these lands. They say that he has spies throughout them. Some of them you may have already bumped into. He has many agents. If it was a vampire that beat Arena, certainly this character would have some connection. For it is said he is the originator of the vampiric plague that exists in Barovia. Essentially, what Ismark is saying, to break it down in my non-Russian accent, he thinks that Strahd may be the originator of all vampires in Barovia.
Okay. That makes him very, very powerful.
Corvus nods, afraid of the words that he knew he was going to hear, but is hearing nonetheless.
Very well, if he has taken an interest into us, we might as well learn as much as we can about him. We might meet him at some point.
You saw that invitation he sent us. It's clear he's trying to force a confrontation.
Hey, it was a dinner invitation. What kind of confrontation could that be?
Oh, come on. We know he's the vampire lord of this realm. It takes a different turn now, doesn't it?
I was doing a joke.
Let's not fight over breakfast.
Oh, it's not right. I was just doing a joke. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Grunard, working on picking up everyone's sense of humor.
Oh, you know what we heard earlier, and Turok does an imitation of the cultist we heard earlier. Like, he is the land, and the chant that we were hearing. I bet that was about that man.
True that.
Ragnar, not worried about him. Will help Ismark and Irina bury father and travel to Valaki.
Irina puts her hand again gently on Kragnar's and says, "And I will help you as best I can to find some sort of cure for your clan, Ragnar. We can all help each other, I'm sure."
Thank you.
Yes,
You
well,
are-
I'm sure cures for vampirism and lycanthropy are few and far between in this realm.
All right, everybody finished eating?
Yes, I'm good to go.
Yes. Oh. Try bury father now? What next?
Ismark and Irina have been arguing all morning about this. Irina seems to be of the belief that her father needs to be buried in the cemetery of Barovia, where his mother and father, grandfather, grandmother, and those before them are buried. Ismark, being younger and less inclined to tradition, more inclined to logic and reason, finds it of the utmost importance for him and her, as well as you all, to leave Barovia at once. He continues to urge her quietly throughout dinner time, as they sort of have their very audible conversation that they're doing their best to keep private. I'm sure none of you are eavesdropping on it, of course.
Of course not.
Should I roll for stealth? Because I'm definitely...
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't making the joke about rolling, but I will roll for sure. I love rolling stealth.
Well, I'll say kind of tell them who hears and who doesn't. So, if you guys want to act like you're eating your food or having conversation, you can roll stealth to kind of, feign not eavesdropping, as I'm super good at when I'm on lunch in a public place, by the way.
That's the best.
Alright, we're looking for 15s or better to be discreet.
Just missed it.
Roll a 15 or better, you are not obvious.
You rolled a what?
You're not
I'm on the table with my head right there, man.
Eric, you're just staring intently at the conversation back and forth each time someone, each time the speaker changes. It's hilarious.
I'm a millimeter away from their faces.
Wish me luck with my negative stealth score.
Pungent.
I'm not rolling. I'm just not rolling.
Delicious smell of cologne of Eric wafting in their noses. And Aaron, you are not equally, but less stealthy than Eric. Surprisingly, rolled a nat 1. You got the better roll there, obviously. But the lesser bonus. You guys are easy to be seen, and I'm gonna say for this reason, in the midst of their conversation, they kind of just stop pretending to have a quiet conversation and realize that they're being watched and listened to anyway, and it doesn't really matter that they're speaking hushed voices because you guys are sitting 2 feet away. So they begin to address you all and include you in the conversation. Ismark says, please, speak reason to her, you all. Is it not make sense to bury my father in a safer place, as I have explained? And he had kind of mentioned this earlier, burying his father outside of Barovia is a possibility. It's just not as... There's just not as much ceremony and tradition behind it, and Irina wants her father's burial to have meaning.
It's more like a family issue, really.
Ragnar believe in family and tradition. Grandfather passed this belt down to me, and it came from father before him. It's important to honor family. So, for what it's worth, Ragnar think honor family, bury father with ancestors here.
Ismar kind of flares up for a moment, and you see like a visible sign of frustration, perhaps anger, at the suggestion that he doesn't have this sort of respect for his father. I think his father deserves this respect.
I have an answer. Ooh,
No,
sorry,
you're
my bad.
fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
I have an answer, but I don't know if you're particularly going to like it. I do, from a standpoint of somebody who has lived here my entire life and has worked with that type of thing as well. I do think it is important to honor family traditions, and we can do it as safely as possible and be as careful as possible. I mean, obviously there is some risk involved, but I see it as something that is very important to you.
Is there at least an easy way to reconsecrate the plot? Corvus asks. And he's kind of asking, Ismark and Irina and Pandora too, seeing as she's the authority on divine magic in the party.
Irina would nod her head and mention a priest that could give such burial rites, consecrating the ground.
Well, it seems we have our means then. Perhaps we should get to it before whatever passes for light passes in this place.
Iraq's just going to follow the group. He's definitely not knowledgeable about this stuff.
Ismark just kind of chants in agreement with Corvus. We should waste no more time on this and have the deed done as soon as possible if it is to be done. He sort of says defeated. And Irina looks in better spirits than she did at the beginning of breakfast, as it looks like she's going to get what she wants, which is to bury her father.
All right.
Give me just one
Ragnar
second
will-
here, guys. Oh, go ahead. Feel free to.
No, Kragnar will put his arm around Ismark and say,
It okay. Understand your feelings too. Who knows what right answer is? And he'll walk out.
The therapist, half orc. Love it.
I think I'm in the right spot, so if you guys want to quick travel to me.
She explains that there is one problem as you get to the door of the Burgomaster Mansion, and explains that there's a broken wheel on their carriage. It's being repaired right now by none other than Bildrith, at a extremely inexorbitant rate, of course. But the problem lies that there's no way to get out or get her father's body to the church.
Okay. Well, we could arrange well, we should do everything at once, right? How long would the repair take?
The carriage repair is not due until tomorrow. Looks at Ismark. Ismark just shaking his head impatiently.
Well, sure would be nice if somebody had a mending cantrip. And Corvus kind of glances around at people, unaware of their latent abilities.
Ragnar can carry. Or Ragnar can hold.
I suppose I could
Heart.
assist you with that.
You may not like it, but I could fit a body in my haversack.
Well, that sounds better than me transforming into a beast of burden.
Oh, how I would love to see that.
Hey, it's liberating.
Where's the old man just walking around calling, "Bring out your dad! Bring out your dad!" We missed that guy. I'm not dead.
Thunk.
All right. So how do we feel about moving the body?
yes.
How do we go about this? Do we have group consensus?
Is it okay if he puts the body in the sack?
If this is the best we can do, Irina says sadly.
Don't worry, we'll get him a proper burial, even if the means of transportation are a bit indignant.
It sounds crude, but we can do it with the greatest care.
She nods in agreement.
Well, lead me to the body.
Her and Ismark break away for several minutes, and they come back reverently guiding what looks to be like some sort of like a meal cart. The large veiled figure laying atop it. The arms and the legs dangle awkwardly off the cart, unceremoniously, one arm sticking out from the sheet. It is the arm of an older, slightly larger man, and it is pale white and as cold as ice.
This may seem odd, and I apologize because there's no decent way for me to ask this, but do you mind if I have a look at the body, see if I can figure out what happened? An idea of it?
Ismark nods his head twice respectfully in your direction and says quietly, "Of course."
Corvus, also having a good knowledge of anatomy, joins her.
I assume that's gonna be a medicine check or an arcana check?
At this point, I'm gonna let you guys roll away. Just riff off of what you're doing there.
Right. I think first maybe a medicine check to see if there's any like wounds, any places, anything. Do like a once over basically.
Try to see like where the death wound may have been caused, if there is one.
Yeah, if there was one. If there isn't, then I'm gonna do an arcana check.
Gotcha.
It's a 6. We're doing great today.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a survival check to try and find like the cause of death. Nope. No.
We're not doing good today.
Nope.
Right, in that case, I will do an arcana check real quickly. That's not an R. Good. This does not give me good dice rolls. I swear to God, I'm getting my own dice.
See, it doesn't.
Oh
say
my
that.
God!
Yeah.
That's it. During break, I'm getting my own fucking dice.
Yeah. It decides it hates the whole party sometimes. Hopefully, it's when it does it in battle that it's the most like oof, you know.
You see, as you kind of inspect the body, the one thing that stands out is bruising on the esophagus. And it's strange. Like I said, he's a larger man. He doesn't have really like a pointy Adam's apple. It's more of just a broad, thick neck. But where his esophagus lies, you can see that there's thick bruising, almost in a line down his esophagus. And it's hard to tell whether this is some sort of wound that was inflicted on him or simply just bluing of the body. From your checks, you get no assistance.
Yeah, I already made the check, but I was going to say Corvus runs his finger along the line of his carotid artery and looks for any perforations. Very carefully.
And he finds none. Though, if he does this, does his finger ever get close to that esophagus?
Yep. Yep.
You'd find that the skin around that bruise is hard and tough.
Interesting.
And while the rest of the skin and body has a sort of state of rigor mortis to it, which, those of you who don't know what that is, it's just the stiffness of the body after those that carry on to the next world carry on, and he is currently...
Cragnar no Latin.
Cragnar no what this term is.
Cragnar no Latin. Cragnar took Latin in college.
Corvus mentions the strange property of the esophageal tissue to Pandora. He points it out to her.
It coincides with the bruising.
Seems to line up quite well with what Ismark told us.
Yes, supposedly.
I wouldn't be surprised if this creature was the one responsible too. Although he could be mistaken. It's likely there are many vampires in this land.
You are correct about that, but also from what we've heard, there's a good chance it might possibly be a spy or something akin to that.
Well, they mentioned this man's affinity for magic, so at that rate, anything could be possible. He might not even need spies.
Exactly. Plus, if he's old enough to be knowledgeable, he's old enough as everybody thinks he is, then that would make sense for know how to do these things without having to get his hands dirty, or...
I'd bet my last copper piece he's sitting in a chair, looking into a crystal ball, watching us, laughing at us.
Oh, most
Corvus
certainly.
kind of grits his fist a little bit, and his knuckles turn white.
We can be mad at everyone about this later. No is not the time for that. So...
Well, let's get to it.
So... it appears to not be some form of a... There's definitely some sort of dark magic entity, something along those lines, but... no. Right. Onwards.
Start heading to the church, then. We'd better hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys gather up the body of the Burgomaster, Kolyanovich. Begin heading towards the church. It sits atop a slight rise. And it stands a dark gray sagging edifice of stone and wood. Obviously weathered by the assaults of evil creatures for centuries on end, and is worn and weary from such attacks. A bell tower rises towards the back. Flickering light shines through the holes in the shingled roof. The rafters strain freely against their load. As As you approach the doors, you can see that the heavy wooden doors of the church are covered with claw marks and charred by fire.
This seems reassuring. At least the doors have held.
Signs of recent battle, it seems.
I think people are going to need help finding the church.
And it should be marked on the map for you guys if you zoom out if you're having trouble finding it. Otherwise, just click on Karak or Corvus. I think they made it over there to the front doors.
I think I'm there.
Give everybody else a minute to gather up, and let's take a quick 5, as it's a perfect time to take a break.
Great.
I'm back.
I never left.
It's almost as if we never left.
Look, I'm standing up here on the roof of the church. It's not good.
Well, I left my computer, but I never left the headset.
Love it.
I'll be
I'm
at
out.
the church momentarily.
Is that everybody back? I think so.
So this is morning in Barovia, huh? Jeez.
Dreary, right?
Darkness.
Like Seattle. It is always rainy and bleak. Where we left off, you guys were standing outside the church, I believe.
Do you guys like the visual on the stream of like our whole group looking all brooding and dark, and then Meryl like in cartoon, just kind of pasted up there?
Just chilling.
It can't all be dark and gloomy. You gotta have one fancy guy.
That's right.
He's the light.
One guy
in
to
the
wear the
darkness.
yellow pants.
I have yet to take my time to gimp Meryl out.
My lord.
It probably sounds a lot different than it actually was intended to, but cut a image of your character out in GIMP.
You are such a dramatic baby. Okay, let's see.
Irina turns to his mark. Well, do we knock? I haven't graced these doors for... I must have been a boy still. I don't know. Think Donovich is inside.
Lord.
Well, you don't have to call me Lord. You can just call me Tarok. That's fine.
Lord Tarak sounds cool, though.
Ah.
Well, Irina is going to...
Navigating Tailspire is a pain.
take no
sometimes.
time, walk up to the door and open. And so the door's open. It reveals a 10-foot wide by a roughly 40-foot wide long hallway leading into a brightly lit chapel.
Can't seem to be able to get a good look inside the church.
The hall is unlit and it reeks of mildew.
What if the church is getting a good look inside of you?
It's not saying pretty things, if that's what it's doing.
I just realized I was muted in Discord. I was like, I feel like no one is reacting to what I'm saying. It's muted for so
Exactly,
long.
we're not.
Sorry.
You were not muted. We just decided not to, engage
Like,
you.
you know what? He's just not saying anything interesting. Carry on then.
Oh, rub the top.
Yep, from the top, you guys were standing outside of the doorway, I believe, when we resumed, and Irina sort of looked over at Ismark and asked if she should knock, and Ismark responded that he didn't really know the customs. He hasn't graced these doors since he was a boy. Kind of scoffs at the thought of the last time he entered the church. And as the doors open, it reveals a 10-foot wide by 30-foot long hallway into a brightly lit chapel. The hall is unlit. It reeks of mildew. There's 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall. They lead to adjacent chambers. You can see the chapel is strewn with debris. And you hear a soft voice from within, reciting a prayer. Suddenly, the prayer is blotted out by an inhuman scream that rises up from beneath the wooden floor. And I'm gonna save you my unhuman scream. It's not very good. It'll hurt your ears.
Do it.
The mic probably wouldn't even pick up half of it anyway.
Yeah.
It is a terrifying and painful scream. And it comes from beneath you.
This is a truly awful place.
The church, or
I
the
was
priest,
worried about its consecration.
the priest doesn't stop his prayer. He merely flinches at this loud scream in front of you and continues softly reciting his prayer.
So we're all just gonna ignore it? I guess we're all just gonna ignore that.
No. What is that? Sounds not good.
Well, let's mosey on up and have a word with the priest. Maybe he can enlighten us in this horror.
That is
Joe.
the reason why people don't come to the church anymore.
What manner of creature has taken up residence in this church?
And may the morning Lord guide us to the light, protect us from the evils that swarm around us day by day growing. May your everlasting light serve as vigil for those who follow and believe.
Speak. There is monster underneath this church. Answer us.
Agnar, my friend, maybe take a step back and let our friends speak first.
You see the priest rise off of his knees and turn around. That is no beast. That is my son.
Hmm?
That's not better. That's actually worse.
Much worse.
Your son sounds in pain. Is he all right?
He is not well. I pray for him every day. But his screams grow ever more painful.
Every
Can you
day?
not-
How many days?
Father Donovich is someone that you know to Pandora, and you see that his eyes have bags underneath them that look like he hasn't slept in weeks. He's been like this for years now.
Years, you say?
He looks shamefully at the floor, not answering this.
Well, it seems you've contained your son. Hopefully you find a cure for him, whatever afflicts him.
What is afflicting him?
I'm going to quietly mutter to the group, next person who mentions anything about that is getting an elbow to the ribs.
It is incredibly rude, that is a fact.
Right. Zipping my lips. Got it. And he'll make the zipping
Corvus
motion.
shakes his head in disgust.
I'll even lend the a dagger if you need to, Pandora.
I understand your feelings towards my boy. But you have to understand he was not always like this. He was once a pillar in the community. A bright candle in a place of so much darkness. Only he had not gone to that bastard castle.
Ragnar walks over to him. Come. It's hard to be priest. Always have to be strong one. And he holds his arms out. It's terrible to have family members suffering.
When I lost his mother, I thought it would break me. But to see Doru like this, I am no longer the man I was. My faith broken. Perhaps that is why my parishioners have forsaken me.
Father, I don't think you truly understand how much your son truly suffers from this. I think you and I both know there is only one way to end it.
But certainly there must be another way. In all of these lands of darkness, there must be some way, some savior. I have prayed for it, day and night. And it looks like it. These, like I said, these terrible bags under his eyes.
Corvus
Ragnar
shrugs and
starts-
kind of gives him a pained look and says, perhaps there may be a way, but you said he's been in this condition for years. By now, the damage would be irreparable.
Tark's gonna cough and go like, before we start trying to fix this man's issues, may we have maybe pressing
Right.
our hosts might have.
Forgot. Ragnar searched for cures too. If find something, I will return. He'll get back to business.
Tarek, I'm sorry, I missed what you said there in the end.
Sorry, my mic was probably too far. So I was saying, our hosts had business with the man first.
Oh, gotcha. Father, I am terribly sorry for what has happened to Doru. We were schooled together, if you remember. Father Donovich smiles at this, as if remembering a better time. Yes, I did, and I remember you well. Of course, know who you are. I am sorry that you have to see me like this.
Yes.
Father, we must ask your service. Our own father has passed on in the night. And for a moment, Father Donovich's sense of humanity returns to him as he looks at them both with empathy, much as a priest would be a comforting source in a time of loss or grief. Donovich, almost on a switch, begins immediately attending their grief. This is terrible. I am most sorry for your loss. Your father, he was a good man. Thank you, Father. Would it be possible to have a small service for him? My sister insists he is buried here in the cemetery of Barovia. There is a small problem with that. I've renounced my faith. And while I fear that I have prayed many nights over this, it is perhaps this reason why my son does not have a solution to his affliction.
The gods might be. Go ahead, sorry.
I must see him restored. To restore my faith truly. Or see him put to peace. He says tearfully, looking at Corvus when he says this, kind of in response to Corvus's ultimatum-like solution, which unfortunately not far off from the truth.
It seems we have our next step.
I mean, hell, do you think you could stay sane after suffering and being denied death like that?
No.
I certainly couldn't.
And I probably explained that a little poorly. Basically, Donovich he renounced his religion. At this point, he doesn't feel like he can give proper burial rites until...
Oh, you did a good job. Don't worry.
No one understood.
Appreciate that. Give you an air pound remotely.
No, you said it.
Pandora,
Not only
can
won't he
you
do the rights, but he can't.
Yeah.
Because he won't.
Yeah. It wouldn't be genuine.
Wouldn't even work, right?
and Pandora do rights?
Empty
Do you
words.
work here, right?
Corvus looks at Pandora with a pained look on his face and doesn't really say anything.
No, I wouldn't be able to do it, sir, but, would it be alright if I tried?
If you feel that you could do so, why not? This is, after all, a place for such things. He nods at you with the respect of a peer.
Right.
Keep in mind, as soon as it sees us, it will come for our blood, and it cannot be stopped. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so impersonal about that.
It's all right, as long as it can bring some peace to this man. I believe we should try to help. Tarak kind of swears under his breath a little bit. He was hoping not to have to do that.
Father
No,
mentions
because-
to. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say something stupid.
That's usually when I'll submit and say, nope, go ahead. I had nothing cool to say. But Father says to both Pandora as well as, we'll say, he says this to both Pandora as well as Irina, as they know Doru or have met Doru before personally. He looks different than he did. Do not be too alarmed. He says this with little hope in his voice that this
Corvus
will be the case.
Sorry.
Okay, that was it.
Corvus looks to the priest with anger and defiance in his eyes, and he asks, "Let me guess, the Strahd creature was responsible for your son's affliction as well?" And Corvus almost spits when he asks.
You see the cringe from Ismark to the right of you as he hears the name echoed or uttered, and he, being the priest, looks at you and says, "Doru was a brave boy. He began to gather quite a bit of respect as a warrior, hunting beasts in the nearby lands. He even saved a few villagers from terrible attacks. Doru wanted to make changes. He wanted to bring the light back to Barovia. He believed that through the power of the Morning Lord, that his sword was blessed, and that he could alone defeat the evil master of these lands. Foolish, young, and ambitious, he took a group of followers to the castle. They stood no chance. He gives no more details on the events of the coup that Doru led against Strahd. But those of you who are familiar with Barovia or who have lived here know what he's talking about. There have been several attempts on Castle Ravenloft, none successful. One more recently was the young man Doru, who went to the castle seeking to challenge Strahd. Challenge him he did. However, Strahd obliterated the group. None were left standing, besides Doru, who he allowed one of his underlings take as a pawn, sending him back to his father, afflicted and cursed, and thoroughly beat up as well. Tending to his son's wounds, Father Donovich did not at first realize that his son was afflicted with such a terrible curse. But once he did, he stowed him away in the basement, and has since sustained him by feeding him deers, rabbits, various animals. Each of their carcasses now rotting down below, thus the putrid smell. All of them drained of their blood. And this was the rumors and stories you heard. People even went up to the church, thus the marks and burn marks on the door, bidding that Father Donovich and his son leave the lands. Father Donovich stood his ground and did not allow anybody to enter the church, barred the doors. No one was brave enough to burn the church down, though. This was suggested by a few townspeople. And that's just a little background for those that lived in Barovia, and those that don't live in Barovia. You got friends that live in Barovia, so you get to hear that cool stuff.
Corvus shakes his head and cringes as the horrible story fills in the gaps of his imagination.
Ragnar, think Doru was brave. Think father should be proud that son tried. Not all who try succeed. But
I
at
agree,
least
it
he
was
tried.
honorable he tried.
Terra goes, this then is full of tragedies, it seems. Under every door seems to be something dark lurking. Very well, I guess going under this church seems to be our next destination at this point.
Yes, it seems poor Doru has earned his rest.
Father
That's poor.
Donovich breaks down in tears.
Let's give peace to both father and son.
Also, just add one last note there. Father Donovich has always been a strong supporter of course, the Morning Lord as the most common, good deity in Barovia. But he also may have influenced this behavior in Doru, as after his wife died of a mysterious fate, he encouraged the fight against darkness by using the light, and he was much more aggressive before Doru, of course, met his fate.
Feels
But
responsible.
yeah, he feels guilty. So it's not necessarily a lack of pride that he feels for his son, but more so you get the sense that he does feel this overwhelming sense of guilt for his action. And those that are from Barovia would probably know that innately, but those that are around can roll an insight check. A 13, your character would have that information. Just from the feels that Donovich has given.
Ragnar, think you should be proud.
Indeed, someone has to stand up to this tyrant.
Yep, I agree. I agree with Ragnar. I'm proud of Doru.
It's just unfortunate that Doru could only manage to gather such a paltry army.
Well, yeah, not a lot of people want to go and fight Strahd. However, like I said, there has been several coup attempts. He just obviously didn't link up with the right people. There was also a little hubris, like I said, caused by his father. He believed that his sword was blessed by the Morning Lord, and he thought that he was the one. He thought he was chosen.
Yeah, prophecy would just lead him to victory, and there would be no in-between that really mattered, right?
Precisely.
Thought he could manifest victory.
Victory not
All
easy
right.
to manifest.
Yes, unfortunately, Elven history is full of similar stories.
And was the sword really magic or was just blessed?
Does it matter?
I don't know.
And divine weaponry may be rare, but it's not impossible to find.
Yeah, just finding anything that could help us, honestly.
An interesting question, and one that gives you a rewarding answer. The sword itself bore no magical power, no. However, the amulet you had from his mother did indeed. I could give it to you, of course, if you think it would help in your travels. It is all I have left of my boy, but if you can help him of this fate, I can't think of a better person to keep his memory alive.
If it can help us bring light in the darkness, we will gladly accept your generous offer. All Tarek is thinking of us like, oh, a trinket.
And also, when we put your son at peace, you'll be able to preach the word of the Lord of Light from this church here again, at least, and this place can become a sanctuary for what remains of this community.
He looks at this again, and his face turns to that time, or that look, that, Irina had mentioned going to school with his young son. His face turns to a thinking about a better time again. That would be wonderful. He walks past each of you and heads into a room down the hallway. It is the last room on your right, if you're looking back in the direction he came in. Are you Aaron? Aaron, it's on your left. He walks into that room for a moment, but he's only gone for a moment. And then he heads back in the direction of the hallway. He sees that everybody has followed him. He bumps into you in the doorway. Oh!
Sorry, Scooty. Sorry. Pardon.
He pulls out a amulet dangling from his two fingers and hands it to Tarek.
Thank you. We will preciously keep it safe.
And I'm just going to drop this in the chat because he'd obviously know what it is and what it does.
Yeah.
So he'll explain to you.
That was going to be my question.
What is this thing? It looks great. I appreciate it, dude. But what does it do for me? This is the Amulet of Devout, found in Ash's Cauldron of Everything, and that is what it does for you.
Oh, nice.
That's a useful item for sure.
While the gold of the amulet or whatever seems to gleam in the eye of the bird, of the crow man, he sighs a little bit, going, I guess this is in better hands with somebody who can use it. And reluctantly, a little bit gives it to Pandora so she can use it.
I will take it and keep it on me.
It even has the symbol of your deity. It's perfect for you.
It looks wonderful on you. You remind me of my late wife. He smiles with a warm gesture of a compliment in your direction.
I'm going to give him a small nod.
Out of curiosity, did we get the uncommon, rare, or a very rare, well, not very rare version of the item?
Very rare.
Oh, we got the very rare. Oh, whoa, okay.
Oh. Yay!
Jeez. Power up, Pandora.
Yes, we're gonna need it.
Better keep Aaron away from her, though. Yeesh.
Pandora's busy bold writing in notes right now. Very rare.
Using her purple pen.
You know,
My character is now awesome.
Turek is now even more sad to have to give up the item.
Help is coming. Help is on the way for all of you.
Help is on the way, too.
Help is on the way. Such a great meme for me.
Very well.
That means down the hallway.
You are all prepared then.
As much as we'll ever be.
Yeah, he asks, kind of with like an inquiring tone. And he turns his back to the door that he just came out of. Walks forward to the door in front of him, opening it. And that is this door.
Oh man, I hope you take some enchantments, Pandora. Yours are going to be really hard to resist.
Now, you see this room is pretty well messed up. Time and neglect have punched holes in the ceiling. You smell that mildewy, moldy smell. And it contains a few of the broken roof shingles just like sitting on the floor there. Also a few puddles of water. One corner set into the floor, you see a heavy wooden trapdoor. It's held shut with a chain and a padlock. And you hear the young man's scream of anguish. Louder as you stand over the door.
Oh,
I
so
must
who's
say,
going
I've heard
first?
a hungry vampire before, but it didn't sound like that. Wow.
I lost the key. I'm sorry.
Well, thankfully we have someone who's good at picking
How many
locks.
years has he been down there, out of curiosity?
All right, time for some professional work. I'm gonna look at the lock first to see if it's gonna burn my hands.
About 2.5 years, he answers you there, Corvus. And let's get those lock pick and rolls going.
All right. Since I'm proficient with thieving tools, I guess I'm adding the Dex plus my thieving tool.
Yep. Proficiency
Yeah.
bonus.
Yeah, it's all right.
Buddy.
So it's gonna be. I'm gonna run that, and that's gonna be a.
Never apologize for adding the bonus. Just drop it on there.
So it's gonna be 21 plus my proficiency, which is plus 2, so it's gonna be 23 roll.
Yeah, you easily pick this lock. This is beginning to be a common theme, but you hear the click-clack of the lock. You're able to now open the trapdoor.
All right. Rock cracks his finger like a true professional.
Yeah, I think you botched like one lockpick when you were like, watch this, and then since then you've been like, I have to redeem myself. It's been like every time lock, unlock.
Did you see Pandora? I did it this time again.
Yes, I see that.
Because the last time you didn't believe in me.
You did it and burnt the shit out of your hand.
Yeah, this time.
A door that didn't burn.
There are some steep stairs.
You do see a rather steep set of stairs that are
No
descending
wonder the
down
man
into the
didn't-
basement.
My man didn't break his neck going down here.
Gon, I gotta give you some props. Your fucking maps are awesome, man.
They
Thanks,
really
man.
are.
Appreciate it. I do it for the peeps.
Hello, scary vampire person. Are you down here?
Okay, so immediately as we go down there, I'm gonna go try and hide in the back here.
Well, as we go down here, I'm also gonna go ahead and just cast mage armor. The feeling how this is gonna go.
The church's undercroft has rough-hewn walls and a floor made of damp clay and earth. Rotting wood pillars strain under the weight of the wooden ceiling. Candlelight from the chapel above slips through the cracks, allowing you to glimpse a gaunt shape in the far corner of the room. You hear a drawling growl. From that corner of the room, followed by the light clink of chains.
You guys mind if I...
Oh yeah, do what you gotta do.
I'm going
Like
to...
locked up.
Yes, and before... I'm gonna get in front of the group because... And I'm also gonna cast... Violate Sanctuary. Because you never know what kind of weird shit's about to happen.
I can smell your blood.
Oh, and not just my blood. Considering her entire apron is full of it.
Yeah, I'll be right on your tail in case you need backup. You can walk over there.
You can hear that gentle clinking of chains echoing in the silence of the Undercroft.
I'm gonna cautiously make my way over there.
As you approach, that feral growl continues. As you get a little bit closer, you can see that he's chained by his left ankle to a post in the center of the room that lies right here. The chain reaches from that point all the way to him and his left ankle.
We'll sit down. Far enough away where he couldn't like run out and grab me, but enough where I can talk to him. Hi.
He grins his feral teeth at you, revealing fangs that extend an inch out of either side of his mouth. Drool drips from his lower chin.
Don't know if you remember me. My name is Dora.
Dora.
Hmm?
You hear him slurp up some of the spit that's running down his chin.
Alright. Do.
You got it, girl. Go for it.
I'm struggling, y'all. Trying to figure this out. Hold on, I gotta look up what some of my spells do here.
Blood. Blood need to eat. Father! I'm starving! He screams out at the ceiling, then bares his teeth at all of you.
I am going to cast Calm Emotions. Hold on. Let me see what that does. Hold on. I gotta double check all my spell cards here. Hold on.
He's getting
Here we go. I can't read that.
Charisma save.
Hold on. Yes, a charisma saving throw.
Got you covered.
I'm not sure if you've attuned to your new item or not, but keep in mind that adds to the DC of your spells.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect wisdom saves, so. Or it doesn't affect saves. Cool.
You appear
Let me
to
double check.
Linking it to
you
spell
appear to
attack and saving throw
soothe
DC.
him as his growls and grunts and slurping sort of seem to slow down and calm down, quiet a little bit. However, your instinct tells you that this may be a much more physical emotion.
Being a vampire count as a disease?
I would say it does. I would say vampirism is a disease.
Actually,
Yes, a cure
no.
disease will not work on it, and Corvus tells you this matter-of-factly.
No, I wasn't looking at that one because I don't have that.
Basically, you almost need a wish.
I was looking. I think we're a little too late for that one. Okay. I think we're a little too late for gentle repose.
Okay.
Yeah,
That might be
in terms of
after we're done here, though.
in terms of restorative spells, I can help you guys out meta and say I don't think any of you have anything that will restore Doru to the young man that he was.
Yes, but
No,
if
You
I.
basically need miracle.
Yeah, but also. To help him a little bit, would it help to cast lesser restoration?
In what way are you trying to help him specifically?
I'm just trying to help suppress kind of some of those heavier, I get urges, I guess, is what I'm trying to.
The hunger he probably feels.
Yeah, hunger. Basically, try and duct tape that part up for a little bit.
Lesser restoration as duct tape for his hunger
Yep.
is gonna work temporarily.
Okay, yeah, just for a moment.
You're gonna also hear his voice now, not just calm down and slow down and be less drooly and slobbery, beast-like, but you're gonna hear a familiar voice. One of the Doro you knew. Pandora. I'm still in here somewhere.
No.
Shoots you a smile, and the smile is terrifying. It is not the intent, I am sure, that he intends to pass to you.
Yeah.
Look at me. Looks at his hands, claw-like fingernails. What have I become? Claws at his face, clapping both of his hands into it.
Corvus walks out of the gloom and the darkness, and he approaches Goru, and if anyone can see well enough in the darkness, they'll notice that Corvus is holding a wooden stake that he picked up.
I am going to stand up and elbow you in the ribs, Corvus.
But Corvus isn't looking at Pandora, he's only looking at Doru. And he stands before Doru and shows him the stake, while he's still lucid.
Cut it out.
Get a firm elbow in your gut. All the same, it seems. And Doru looks up at you curiously.
You accidentally became something you were not meant to be. But I think there's a way.
He deserves for his suffering to end, and I think he knows it.
Yes,
Zoro should know he was brave and strong.
He was. And he should also know that we seek to complete his task, or die trying, of course.
why don't we have this conversation upstairs in a minute?
Why
Yes.
not? Good Doru should go to his maker knowing that someone was at least inspired by his cause.
You go to Ravenloft, Doru says, terrified. Don't do it. Don't make the mistake I made. You can hear the human in Doru's voice slowly begin to slip. As he loses his composure slightly at the thought of a return to Ravenloft.
Corvus is going to back up.
You won't have to go back there. I promise. We will find a way to fix this.
Please. Kill me.
Will.
He says mercifully.
Alright?
Corvus sighs and says, see how long will he continue to suffer while he waits for us to cobble together some magical solution to this problem?
If we're going to do this, it needs to be quickly before your spell wears off.
Corvus nods, and he holds his hand out to Aaron with the stake.
I look to Pandora to see if she's ready.
Before he goes totally vampire crazy again, I am going to his hands, give them a firm squeeze. Be okay. Promise.
Sad.
He squeezes
Corvus
back.
turns to Pandora. Oh, sorry.
You're okay. I'm done.
And says, don't worry, we'll give him an honorable burial near your father.
And I'll take the stake and approach him.
Doru.
Oh, what did I just say?
Pandora exclaims in the direction of Aaron.
Alright.
Mostly towards him and Corvus both.
What did she say?
She's shooting you mad shade and said, "What did I just say?" As Aaron said he was approaching with the stake. And I think she was referring to her comment about not staking him at the moment, perhaps discussing this upstairs. The counter to that was, I believe, we don't want to wait for your spell to wear off. There's a lot of poetic justice going on with the spell, so I understand that fear.
Mm-hmm.
The name is the
Kragner
name
will
of the game.
So what does Doru do as Aaron approaches?
He kind of buffs his chest up a little bit, as in like, take me.
Oh man.
Yeah, Doru's ready to go in the state that he's in because he's returned to some semblance of himself, is what I want to say. However, the Doru that you heard just moments before this, solely concerned on one thing: his hunger.
Guys, I think this is as peaceful as we can possibly make his death, literally.
Yes, I'd just say, look at him, Pandora. Do you want him to continue to suffer like this? At least as he is now, we won't have to fight him.
Ragnar not know or understand these things enough to have any answers.
Although, if you want me to stay my hand, I will. You know this, man. The choice is ultimately up to you.
I'm going to turn to him and ask, do you...
Corvus puts his hand on Pandora's shoulder reassuringly and says, do this, and one day, I promise one day, you will see your brother again in the Hall of the Sun. He means brother as like,
Brother under the Lord.
Yeah, like fellow believers.
Decision's not up to me. It's up to him. Turn to him.
Or up to the Morning Lord, depending on your perspective. But I know what the Morning Lord would want, and I think you do too.
Go ahead, Pandora, Irina says, encouragingly. Then she whispers, he should have a say.
I'm gonna turn to him. I know you obviously just heard what happened because this conversation right in front of you. But what do you want?
What I want is freedom for my people from the tyrannies of the darkness of these lands. I sought out Strahd under the guidance of a wizard, a great and powerful archmage. He came to Barovia to help free us from Strahd's tyranny. But he underestimated his hold over the lands and the creatures that exist within it. Last I heard, Strahd had driven him into the mountains, sent him hurling over the Sere Falls.
Interesting. So another yet lives from your ill-fated assault.
he recounts
Whoa.
this. Yep.
Derek, who's trying to hide now, his ear picked up. What was his name?
He goes by the Mad Mage of Mount Baratok. I'm just gonna put that in the chat real quick, you guys.
I see somebody's working hard to build an aura of fear around themselves.
When in Barovia, do as the Barovians do.
Barovians do heavy angst.
Yeah,
Lots of sadness, lots of depression.
Angst and horror. No mage of hope or god of hope here, huh?
Yeah, if anybody ever needs an air hug after the session, those are complimentary with each session. Emotional scarring that I may dump onto you from the course of the session, I apologize.
We're not trying to make Pandora stab him, are we? Because
Oh.
Please don't.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Seems
here
Oh,
in front of
no. That wasn't the plan at all.
Alright, Pandora, get it done. Irina's like, well, what are you waiting for?
Irina, do it now! Get to the chopper!
Just takes him
Somebody
and
else.
stakes him in the eye.
Or I can just Eldritch Blast his head off.
Missed. Oh.
Smart
Channel the
face
you
palms.
channel the Emperor, like going like, do it, feel the dark side.
Please do not make him roll and make something like that happen.
Doru explains that what he wants in his dream is long since lost to him. And that now all he can ask for is peace and to join his mother.
Sweet Doru. Well, I think Kragnar starts to tear up a little bit, which no one sees.
Of course not.
I have dark vision, I can see it.
Yeah, we can see it very well.
Passive perception says,
Alright.
Mold under here. It's very pollen inducing.
Alright, what's the call, Pandora?
And Dora?
Dora's going to take a deep breath and him. And look to Aaron and nod a little bit.
Getting the nod, I'll go down to one knee. And I'll look him in the eye. I'll put one hand on his shoulder, put my left hand on his shoulder, slightly reassuring him. And holding his gaze, I'll drive the stake directly into his heart at a slight upwards angle.
blood immediately spurts out of his mouth as he coughs a thank you. And slumps into you. The room is filled with a somber silence. Many have suffered this fate in Barovia. But not more need suffer it, says Ismark in a defiant tone. May you rest in peace, Toru.
Stoic nod.
I hold him there a moment,
Or Doru.
my hand on the stake, before I gently pull it out of his chest and lay him down.
Tarak is going to go and put a gentle hand, on Pandora's shoulder and just like hold her, like he doesn't hug her because he doesn't know her enough, but he gives her a reassuring, just a little bit of weight as a friend is. You made the right choice. He's at peace now.
Kragnar pumps his chest with his fist a couple times, slams his axe. Doru! Doru! Doru.
Yes, Doru's actions should be an inspiration to the people of Barovia to fight, not to submit. We can help make that a reality.
By spreading the word of his story, says Ismark.
Exactly.
He's gone, but his spirit is with us. Let that flame move us forward.
Ragnar will go over and pick him up.
We should bring him to his father.
Corvus motions to Tarak towards the leg shackle. Might have to undo that.
Oh, yes. Tarak is going to try to undo the shackle. Should I roll for something, or is it easy enough to do?
I could have been the only one who didn't forget about that shackle.
Probably.
In this moment, Tarak certainly would not fail, as
Perfect.
he ceremoniously removes the lock as gently as he can to aid in this ritual.
Tarak just disgustingly throws the chain a little bit in the corner. This symbol of pretty much what the hold that he feels like this is like kind of a symbol of what Strahd has of a hold over the country.
Ooh, that is
Right.
a nasty analogy. You got 3 inspirations in your pocket, but take a 4th, sir.
Ragnar will pick up Doru and hold him kind of like a baby almost. And
Do you need a moment, Pandora?
See, Irina, Pandora, and even Ismark are tearful.
Oh, let's give her a moment and go see the priest upstairs.
Even. Jeez. Oh, that's fine.
Hate these stairs, man.
Right?
The maps are cool until they're not cool.
The maps are cool until you have to move upstairs.
Yeah.
Maps are cool until you have to traverse them. The interesting thing is going to be recovering our characters upstairs, because we had to drop ourselves down a hole to get down here.
I could help with any recoveries.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there
need
you
help.
are.
I
Managed to
suck
do
at
it.
recovery.
I'm coming. I'm on your way.
The shift click works well.
Yes, it does.
Oh wait, hang on. I think I can fish myself out of the hole.
You have to start getting used to locking the icon.
Wait.
Mr. Quackle may be able to help save himself, fish himself out of the hole at this point.
Wait.
He is a master fisherman. I will help lend him aid anyway.
Got it. Getting good at this.
You guys take the body of Doro up the stairs.
Yeah.
Back to his father. Who stands anxiously waiting in the hallway. Immediately upon seeing the body of his dead son in the arms of Kragnar, Father Donovich breaks down yet again. He goes to his boy, hugs him, and with body language asks to take him from Kragnar.
He hands him over.
The shriveled, malnourished, vampiric body of what was once the proud young man Doru hangs limp in his father's arms. But his,
Durak was gonna... Go ahead, sorry.
his face regains some sense of composure, however, and he looks at all of you and says, I thank you for this kindness you have done for me. Perhaps the Morning Lord has sent you. Perhaps what my son believed is true. There will be a day when warriors brave enough to face the Dark Lord of these lands stand true and free us of his tyranny. My Doru kisses his son's forehead. He looks at Irina and Ismark and says, we will bury him with your father. And he says this, again, for my Barovians, for my Rovians out there, you guys would know that this makes sense. When people would die near by each other or in dates near one another, dual burials would happen for the exact reason of breaking consecrated ground in Barovia can have dire consequences, especially in the night hours. But he tells both of them that he's glad to pay respects to their father, laying both him and his son to rest.
Derek has the tears in the corners of his eyes as well. Let's move. Let's bury both honorable men, and then let's get out of this place.
Please lead us to burial area. Ragnar ready.
You must be, says Father Donovich. And so too will your weapons need to be, he says ominously. So he takes his son and lays him down on the floor in the center of the church. He begins to wrap his body with a sheet.
Derek's going to help him.
Yes, Father Donovich kind of prepares Doru for burial. Just a short period of time passes until this is completed, but it's not long before he's ready to approach the church. I'm sorry, to approach the cemetery.
That's the
Hell.
part behind the church, right?
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Click on me. Kragnar.
And I lost myself.
That shift click is just a godsend.
Shift click is your friend.
I ended up
Hmm?
too high.
Oh, there. That's the problem.
If you lose your character, you've probably put yourself on another floor.
I'm looking for Kragnar right now. I have no idea where he is. Oh, he's out in
I'm
front of the.
standing next to him.
Yeah, he's out in front of the house. Yep.
Yeah.
We're right there next to him.
A fence of wrought iron with a rusty gate encloses the rectangular plot of land behind the dilapidated church. And there's tightly packed gravestones, shrouded by fog, that bear the names of souls long and recently passed. All seems quiet, still, peaceful.
Ragnar takes out a shovel and turns to Father Donovich. Where? Dig.
Father Donovich takes you out to 2 plots of land that look like open space in a nearby area. He takes you over this way.
Okay.
Eric is going to stay back and slowly take out his weapons, just in case, because he's got a bad feeling about this.
I got a +1 shovel. I'm not afraid.
shows you 2 areas that would be sufficient.
Okay. So like there and there?
Yep.
Okay. Ragnar pulls out the shovel, looks around, tentatively puts the spade by the dirt, looks around one more time, and just starts to dig.
Corvus walks up next to Kragnar and looks down at the site of the second plot, and then quickly casts mold earth, and then the grave is dug within a matter of seconds, and then he just walks off.
I love that spell. Corvus, very stylish grave digging. I like it. Almost immediately upon both of you taking your actions, I want to say that literally as the shovel impacts the dirt, Father Donovich begins a prayer, which I'll save you guys from recanting. It's more so to protect those standing above the ground from the evil that lies in this world that would bring those from below back the surface. There's something about the March of the Dead and all that. Grant us savior from the March of the Dead, says Father Donovich, and protect us with your light.
After the father's done with the prayer, I approach him and tell him we are actually in possession of 2 other bodies that need to be put to rest.
Good thought.
He looks to you surprised. Do you know these departed souls.
Yeah, they were the souls of the Durst children trapped in the death house. The
Indeed.
body, sorry.
That we may mark their gravestones accordingly.
Corvus nods and asks where their gravesites should be, offering to dig them, of course. Quickly.
Father Donovich slowly walks over to the area over here that I'm pointing to, and points out 2 other plots that are available. They should be buried together, of course, he says.
Corvus nods and begins to whisper to the wind and casts Mold Earth, creating a nice, perfect grave for them.
I'll just dump them out of my bag. I'm just kidding. I take them out gently and with respect. And put them in the holes that Corvus just created.
I'm sure this is probably not a emotion that all of you are feeling after this some dismally depressing session so far. More due to the subject matter than any of you guys or me, I think. I just wanted to ask, who's feeling lucky?
Burying bodies and shit. Yeah, I get that.
I'm always lucky.
Yeah,
You spoke first, Aaron. Roll a D100 for me.
Oh, shit.
Let the fate of the Morning Lord
decide. Maybe high is good.
As the burial procession continues and proceeds, you're surprised that no ominous events occur in the graveyard. You're able to bury the bodies of Kolyan Kolyanovich, of Doru Donovich, and the Durst children. In doing so, along with freeing Doru from his pain and suffering, grants you all a level up.
Yeah. Ooh. Nice.
Woo!
And you avoid combat with a high roll.
I was gonna say it's either high or low is good, and you can never tell.
Well, the March of the Dead does not fall upon you at the beginning of next session. You guys can carry on, hopefully, to your next destination. But as things come to rest, and Father Donovich finishes his last prayer, and all of you turn to walk away from the cemetery, turn back to the church, Father Donovich notices something about Irina. You know, you have a striking resemblance to a painting that I have seen. It is remarkable, perhaps a coincidence. I do not recall who this woman was. A beautiful queen of sorts, regal in dress. But it is amazing. As a young woman, you have grown to resemble her almost exactly.
Which woman would that be? Do you remember?
Her name escapes me. It was a depiction I saw it in my travels when I was a younger man. In Kreshk.
Boy, you're gonna have to put that in chat.
A sick Russian accent, just masking any good sign of spelling from that. Kreshik. That is, I think I pronounce it Kreshk.
You're not fully clean unless you're Kresh fully clean.
We accept all sponsorship. Kreshk.
All right.
And he unfortunately has no information to give you other than that.
Okay.
Lots of info in this session.
Yeah.
No, I remember, he says, just as you reach the church doors. Anastasia. It was Anastasia, yes. Its aging memory returns to him. And I will put that in the chat. Nope, that's spelled right. Dang it. Spelling's hard.
Words are difficult.
Names, even more so. Eastern European ones, the hardest.
Yeah.
Derek's going to look at Irina and Ismark, or even Pandora, to see if they have any reaction to that name.
Ismark does. Ismark reacts to this and looks at Irina with a look of concern and worry.
Is this a name that tells you something? Yes, Ismark, seeing he's seems worried.
Anastasia was the bride of the once brother of the Dark Lord, when he was still yet a man, or so they say.
Excellent news.
The Dark Lord had a brother. The Dark Lord's brother had a bride. That brother's bride's name was Anastasia.
Didn't you just say that he... Oh, that's not good.
Recognition dawns on Tarek.
Already learning of his sordid past, I'd say this is going well so far.
So you mean that the brother was married to her first and then... Then Strahd was married to her for reasons. I'm guessing the brother was not around anymore.
The Dark Lord, he was always jealous of his little brother. They say that his mother showered her love upon him and scorned Strahd, even though he brought honor to the family name in battle. Strahd loved Anastasia and wanted her for himself. He killed his brother on the day of their wedding and chased Anastasia through the halls of Castle Ravenloft, until she flung herself from one of the high towers to rejoin her love, Vladimir.
Well, that's another horrible story that I'm not at all surprised to hear, and Corvus kind of just sighs and shakes his head again.
Does this country, this realm, have any good stories? Has anyone
No,
lived
not when
any
it's
happy
ruled
life?
by an undead despot.
There is the tale of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Oh, well, see, there's something. There's some hope left.
We tell this to children to help them sleep at night, before the monsters creep out into the darkness.
Ugh, I hate
Yeah.
to hear what your creepy folk tales sound like.
Well, Tarak just throws his hands in the air and goes, well, isn't this place just full of sunshine? All right, unless you have more to the story, I suggest we move on from this sad place.
And with much of Barovia explored, I would say that's a fitting comment. But with that being said, let's wrap here for the end of the night. An excellent session from everybody. I hope I didn't make anybody cry tonight. If I did, I'm adding you to the list of people that I've made cry.
Later, star.
The list is surprisingly longer than you'd think.
I was hoping to get some combat in there for you guys. I hope it wasn't too much of a draw in RP session, but what an RP session it was. Really, thanks for an awesome session, everybody, and looking forward to next week, of course.
Yep, pretty amazing.
Good
Great.
game, y'all.
All right.
So sad.
Now go have a pleasant weekend. Do some fun things and some enjoyable things.
Jesus, I'm gonna go in the field position and cry and go hug my daughter or something.
Yeah, go hug a loved
Some
one.
sunlight.
Go do something fun that'll cheer you up. If you ever need a boost in that regard, never hesitate to hit the line here. But you guys all have a great week.